Welcome into the Verdin Verdicts live stream. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin, joined again by G Sports. Today, we're going to dig through the LSU recruiting rumors, preview the SEC Media Day coverage we'll have coming to you Monday, rank our top 5 NFL wide receivers, and we got a little bit extra at the end. G, how are you, man? Great to have you back.
Always good to be on the show, bro.
It's good, man. What you been up to, bro? What you been doing?
Same old thing, man. Coaching my son AAU team. Celebrating my mom's birthday the other day. Celebrating my brother's birthday today, and celebrating my
Okay.
birthday on Sunday.
Okay, birthdays all around. We're going to make sure to give you a special shout out on Sunday. But
Definitely.
glad to have you back, though, man. Hopefully the AAU camp went smooth. How was everything with that?
Everything been going pretty good, man. We won the last three tournaments. One in Memphis, one in Atlanta, and one in Miami. So we've been rolling right now.
Okay,
With Big Easy. Yeah. That's Greg Monroe's organization. So we've been doing a really good job.
that's really cool. Hey, when you winning like that, when you getting them rings, bro, you represent the Tri-Pairs really well.
Definitely.
We're going to talk about a little bit of LSU representation. Last night they had the ESPYs. I mean, when you're talking about sports, you've got to mention LSU at some point. But it seemed like last night they were mentioning LSU at every point. The gymnastics team was represented. Jaden Daniels was represented, of course. He won the Best College Male Athlete Award. And then you had Flage rap a little bit. All in all, my main question to everybody is why not LSU? The brand is at the global scale. We talked about the white party the other day, but now when you've got a shot like this, and I'm about to put it up on the screen here, of Jaden Daniels, Livy Dunn, and Lil Wayne, and they're presenting the awards to players or people or athletes, it's pretty interesting because this is the mecca of Louisiana. Like, I'm not going to say it's the three-headed monster because there's a lot more than three heads, but this was really interesting to see. It looks like an LSU takeover, and it's a recruiting plug.
Definitely. Definitely, man. I was very, very impressed with Florgie, man's SP performance. She just looked like a natural. Didn't look nervous. Didn't look like the moment was too big for her. I think we about to see something that we never seen before with this type of basketball player that's going to probably end up being a top 5, top 10 pick in the WNBA draft. And also is going to be one of the top rap hip hop performers in the world. I think she's that good. I think she's that talented. Wayne's kind of ordained her as the next one up. And you can see that a lot of people is following behind Florgie, man, and her audience is getting bigger and bigger. So, like we say all the time, man, if you want to get branded and you want to be put on a mainstream platform, come down into the Bayou and go to LSU.
Exactly. And then in Flage's situation, it happened instantaneously. Freshman year comes in, gets the tutelage under Kim Mulkey. And what better coach to learn from than Kim Mulkey if you're a point guard or just a college basketball player in general? Then wins the national championship in her freshman year, and it was off to the races after that point. Her brand, it speaks volumes of what is capable and what you could do at LSU if you are an athlete. If you're looking, I mean, yeah, NIL it makes your eyes get big and wide, but then when you see the plethora of talent that are leaping or growing leaps and bounds rather, and performing at the next level, whether it be professional or just overall after their career, LSU it kind of sets you up for life, at least if you ask me, because the amount of people that get to know your name, that get to hear your story, that get to just have memories of you, that's really what LSU's culture is all about. You can always remember back in the day all these different highlight plays or moments at a game that you went to. That's kind of the whole like joy I get, at least, of LSU. Like, there's a lot of people that I could dial it back to, like a Trendon Holiday. It's a kind of a name not a lot of people remember. I was one of the fastest dudes I thought in college football, and it's moments like that where it's
Right.
just like that's a brand moment that LSU can help you do. Was Trendon Holiday a huge NFL star? No, but I'm still gonna remember his name because of the things he's done on Saturday nights, and that's just really what LSU brings to the table. At least if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. It's just like I was just saying, when you're trying to build a brand and you want to be remembered forever, regardless if you was a superstar or if you was just a role player for the basketball team or the baseball team or the football team, you're going to be remembered. You're going to be remembered because the way LSU brands their athletes and the platform they put you on, man, it just is something that you just don't see around the country at other schools. So I'm happy to see, Angel Reese and Floyd J and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and all these top tier athletes that came through LSU being able to capitalize outside of the sport because, like we always say, man, you're not gonna be able to bounce that ball forever. You're not gonna be able to play football forever, and so they're capitalizing from a business standpoint with their brands, bro. And LSU has done that for them.
Yeah, I agree. And then this is carrying over directly into the recruiting success, if you ask me. If you look at On3's graphic that they released recently, they did a committed 4-star plus 5-star percentage of the entire class. Of course, Oregon's sitting at the top at 94%, but LSU right behind them at 93%, more than Georgia, who's at 89, more than Alabama, who's at 76, more than A&M, who's at 67. Now, this isn't saying that LSU is the best at recruiting or that LSU is really like, hitting the hammer and outperforming everyone. But what I'm saying is if we've been talking recently about, the NIL efforts needing to pick up this, that, and the third, it's going to make me think that LSU's brand is pushing a Bryce Underwood, a Harlem Berry, or maybe even a DJ Pickett to make that decision to come to Baton Rouge simply because what they've seen everyone around them do, or at least everyone around LSU. It's kind of hard to see moments like this and really not want to take that chance, take that risk. Like we said, the NIL money's good, sure, but the long-term investment. Garrett Nussmeier said it best at the Manning Passing Academy. The NFL money is way better than the NIL money. Let's look at what Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, hell, Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors, what they're all making. You can really change your life just by, putting your head down, grinding, and going to the situation where you can develop, where you can reach your potential. And with what this graphic's telling me, 93% blue chip commit percentage, it looks like a lot of people are having that same general consensus about LSU.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about this for some weeks now, ever since the Corey Moore, who was the #1 receiver in the country from Duncanville High School, has decommitted from LSU. I just don't understand, what he's looking for, big picture wise. I understand that these kids want to get paid from an NIL standpoint. I get it. But if you're really trying to put yourself in position for the long game, which is the NFL, and to brand yourself outside of the game of football, like, why would you think that Oregon can do that better than LSU? I'm just not wrapping my head around it. No. And I'm willing to bet that Oregon's NIL package is bigger than LSU's package. And I alluded to this, on the show way months back when he first committed to him. But if you've done your research and if you've done your due diligence on this process and understand the whole grand scheme of things, whoever's in the Corey Moore's camp, which is his mom, I know his mom is really the big influence in this whole process. How do you not see that LSU is the way to go, regardless of Oregon that has a bigger NIL package? How do you not see that the #1 and the #2 receiver in the NFL, in my opinion, in a lot of people's minds, is Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson? Justin Jefferson just got the bag. He's the #1 paid receiver in the NFL right now. Jamar Chase probably going to pass him sooner than later. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas just both went first round. Malik Neighbors was a Biletnikoff finalist, should have won it. Like, Brian Thomas led the country in touchdowns. What are we talking about right now? What are we talking about? They just had Fashion Week in Paris, and it was like the headliners for that. What are we talking about right now? Why? And Duncanville, Texas, which is in Dallas, is only 7 hours away from LSU. So you're going to go clear across the country to Eugene, Oregon, where you can't even get a direct flight. Yeah, I get Dan Lanning's doing a good job with that program. They're winning. I get it, man. I'm not saying that the Corey Moore won't have a good career in Oregon. But if you're looking at the big picture, why would you go to Oregon over LSU? I just don't understand it. And the fight is not over. I would hope that the Corey Moore and his mom and whoever else is in the picture for as him making that decision, I would hope that they double back and really, really do their due diligence on the Corey Moore's future as it pertains to being an LSU Tiger. And then you got the #1 overall player in the country coming in, Bryce Underwood.
Exactly. That's a cherry on top.
Wow. Bro, do you know what LSU is going to be able to do for a branding purpose, like branding purposes with those two? I mean, if the Corin Moore is listening to this, if this snippet finds him, man, you need to do a deep dive into what you're looking for the long game and not the short term.
And then not to mention, you've got a guy like Cortez Hankton in the room who can take a Malik Neighbors or a Brian Thomas. At one point, of course, they're in their freshman year, but they're at the lower end of the depth chart. They weren't always the stars. They didn't always have the eyes on them. They bought into the scheme, got developed, and were, 100% changed. And kind of mentioning what you said about the NIL package, it is clear as day because you see Phil Knight, the Nike CEO, talk about how bad he wants to see Oregon win. And I'm sure Nike and Oregon are probably rubbing some elbows, and that's a conglomerate unlike any other. They're sponsoring LSU of all teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have their grip on college football. So it's definitely a questionable decision because I would never. Also, I want to mention this. It's not like you're getting $0 at LSU. Like, yeah, they have more money, but you're still getting paid. You're still going to make a handsome amount of money. You'll probably wind up making more than the average person in Louisiana would. So, I mean, I get it, you get more money, but it's just the fact that you could have some money as well. You're not going to not get paid. You're still going to be paid. Plus, you're in the developmental situation. So, I mean, the NIL thing always confuses me because, the way we kind of think of it is like so polarizing where it's like $10 to $50,000. But in a realistic standpoint, yeah, Oregon's probably given a heavy check. But LSU's isn't going to be, like chopped liver. I mean, I don't know. That's the way I look at it. Plus the brand and the NIL, like, you can do that externally on your own individually. Look at like Angel Reese or Flau'jae Johnson or even Michaela Williams signing with Jordan. There's a lot of people who, yeah, they might not be in a certain tier of players on their team, but at the end of the day, it's up to you on what you want to do with your brand and how you're going to get yourself out there. And I feel like, if you took the shot, bought in, and went to a situation where you've seen a handful of wide receivers be successful from, really, what's going to probably change his mind, if anything, the only way I really see him kind of doubling back and being like, I got to go to LSU, is honestly, inevitably, if you ask me, when Kyron Lacy, Chris Hilton, and honestly, maybe even an Aaron Anderson blow up. Simply put, this season is going to be a big testing point for a lot of recruits and a lot of perspectives on LSU, and I really have high hopes for the offense, if you ask me. I don't think Garrett Nussmeier is just your run-of-the-mill first-year starter. I think he's going to be really, really experienced. Then Kyron Lacy, a lot of people, I'm going to say, don't give him his flowers. He's a real underrated wide receiver, and a lot of people have their questions, but at the end of the day, he was a starter. Honestly, a starting caliber wide receiver next to Malik, next to Brian. Imagine what he looks like as the guy, as wide receiver one. Chris Hilton, fastest dude on the team more than likely, clocking 22 miles per hour, going to be a huge vertical threat. You saw him get active in the bowl game. I think if you see these two players go get their worth in the NFL, and you've got three duos now that have all gotten drafted, have all seized their dreams, how do you turn away?
And this is another key dynamic. Oregon, think about their schedule and when their games are played. Bro, their games are played when I'm falling asleep. Let's be honest. When their games come on, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
At Pacific time.
Bro, we not watching that. We're not. Right? When LSU plays, it's at 6 o'clock.
Prime time. And they're playing on ESPN, ABC, on these prime time networks. Bro, Oregon is playing like 4 or 5 of these games on Friday nights. Really? They're trying to call that a prime time schedule, playing on Friday night. Bro, they're not going to get the audience watching on a Friday night. A lot of, especially down in certain parts of the country, because everybody's at Friday night football games. Yep.
Right? Saturday is the time when you watch football, college football. Especially down here in the South. I just don't get it when you look at that. And that's another reason why LSU is able to brand their athletes so good, especially in football, because of the TV times. Most of the games are played in the evening, around 5, 6 o'clock. is usually on ESPN or NBC or ABC. So the whole country is watching. Oregon, stop it, man. You're not going to have that same audience watching you, Dakari Moore. You're just not. So you got to think about all that. You could catch for 120 yards and 3 touchdowns. It doesn't matter if nobody watched. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we can go back and watch the highlights and see your Instagram reels, but it's a little different when you're watching it live. And when you're watching it live from Tiger Stadium with that crowd and ESPN commentators, Robert Griffin III calling these plays out and saying correlation for 6. It's a little different. Just a little different.
100%.
It's just a little different. And then you never know who might be on the sideline. Shaq might be on the sideline. He might grace us with his presence. Odell Beckham might come on his bye week. Joe Burrow might come in an all-white suit. You just never know who might pop up. Angel Reese.
Travis Scott.
He might have some Cactus Jacks in his hand. Michael Rubin. You just never know who might pop up on that sideline on Saturday night, bro.
Never.
And all the cameras are going to be watching. The content is going to be made. This is how brands are built at LSU. The core move, you and your mama need to sit down and really, really think about what you're doing before you sign that national letter of intent come February or December.
I agree. I second that. And here's another good point brought up by our guy Brendan Reese in the chat. He says, from a QB standpoint, LSU can also claim that they've had 2 Heisman-winning quarterbacks recently with Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels. And he's also commenting, it's funny that Ohio State fans tried to claim him, though, Joe Burrow. That is funny. Joe always says he practiced at Ohio State and he played at LSU. So, I mean, that settled that argument. But 100%, Brandon, the fact that you've had, we'll say, I know you had Max Johnson and Miles in the middle, but really your last 2 clear starters who had multiple years of starting under them won the Heisman. This quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier, does he have a shot? Sure. If that happens, geez, bragging rights out, the butt. But you've had, I believe it would be 2 of the last 4 or 2 of the last 5 Heismans. I think it's 2 of the last 5. That's 40%. You're covering the field. You've almost got half of them. Something that people have to take notice of. That's not just because, half of it is because of their skill, of course. The other half is exactly because of what you said. Eyes are on the game. When Jaden Daniels runs for 85 yards, everyone saw it. That's a Heisman moment. You're going to remember that for the rest of your life. When Joe Burrow goes crazy against Oklahoma in the first half and Justin Jefferson's holding up 4 touchdowns in the end zone, that's a moment you're going to remember for the rest of your life. It has to have eyes. It has to have that big game feel. If you're playing a sloppy team in sloppy minutes, it's not the same. That's not a Heisman moment. A Heisman moment is when the pressure's being cooked, when the eyes are on you, the lights are bright, and the moment is the biggest. And quite frankly, that's probably why LSU has been at the top of the Heisman talks, the Biletnikoff talks, this, that, and the third. It's clear cut. I think.
And bro, think about this. Let's take Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. had a phenomenal year last year. Bo Nix had a phenomenal year last year. The only time I really got to watch Michael Penix for real is when they played in the 14 playoff. Bo Nix, the only time I really was able to watch him play is when they played Ohio State. So you mean to tell me I'm only going to get to watch y'all play for real is one time? Man, when you watch LSU, you're going to watch them about 5-6 times a year.
Yep.
That's just what's going to come with it. And it's going to be on national TV in a primetime slot. Man, you got to think about all that when you're thinking about branding, because I know his mama is big on the Corey and Mo getting branded. I don't give a damn what Phil Knight talking about. Yeah, you know, that's your headquarters down there in Oregon. I get it. Man, Oregon can't compare. Not even in the same stratosphere as LSU when you're talking about branding. And that's just the fact of the matter.
And he
if
knows
anybody says otherwise, you need to get checked out by a specialist.
And he knows it because if it wasn't that weren't being the case, he wouldn't have to open that checkbook as deep as he is. That comment let me in on everything we needed to know about that program. Look, it's not a bad thing. I'm not gonna sit here and hate on them. They could be successful.
No, they're doing a great job.
And all I'm gonna say is, though, I like Brian Kelly's approach. He talked with you in your interview, and I'll put a link right here in post. He's wants the people that have that mindset of football first, the little things that matter, having, your mindset be synonymous with everyone on the team. You want to have like-minded people, play with like-minded people who keep the main thing the main thing. Yeah, you want to get some money. Yeah, you want to get paid. Yeah, you want to have your worth and your value. But Coach Kelly's building a prestigious program that's trying to play in the playoffs or a national championship every single season. They're not really trying to go cash checks at the bank. Yeah, that's fun, and that's going to come with it. But at the end of the day, we want to host a fifth trophy.
Exactly. Exactly. And look, there's a reason why Oregon coming out with all these damn uniform combinations. They putting it all over social media. See, they got to do a little extra. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They got to do a little more to get everybody to gravitate toward what they got going on down there in Eugene, Oregon, bro. LSU don't have to do that, man. You know, we going to keep it traditional because the brand is the brand. The standard is the standard. Man, either get up or lay down. Facts. I mean, it is what it is, bro.
So we're talking about LSU. We're talking about Oregon. This is actually pretty much the final two teams in the race for DJ Pickett. Real quick, I want to know what you think about Mr. Pickett. And I mean, hey, this morning he tweeted a photo with him and Corey Raymond, and he does decide next week. So we're getting close. LSU seems to be on his mind. It's a perfect fit, if you ask me.
I know I've talked to C-Ray a good bit of times about DJ Pickett. He loves DJ Pickett. He thinks DJ Pickett can be a top 5, top 10 pick in the draft. You know, just going off of his traits and the measurables, right? Of course, he still has to come in and do his work and, you know, continue to enhance his IQ and stuff like that. We get all of that. But Antonio Parks, who's a Louisiana native, played at East St. John, right there from LaPlace, is the DB coach at Oregon, right? So it's going to be a recruiting battle between Antonio Parks and C-Ray. Don't know Antonio Parks. I know of him. We follow each other on social media. From what I heard, he's a really good guy. He's one of the upcoming DB coaches in the country. But if we talking about development, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? C-Ray, his resume and what he's done and the amount of elite DBs he's put out into the NFL, this shouldn't even be a question on where DJ Pickett is going to spend his next 3 to 4 years. No, it should be LSU. 100%. It should be LSU. But from what I've been seeing on 3 and some other of these recruiting sites, 24/7 Sports, a lot of people saying that Oregon is probably going to be the place he commits to. We'll see. We'll see. I know Corey Raymond is going all in on him, and he's very, very high on him. So, I think this will be a key get for C-Ray, if he was able to get DJ Pickett, because I think he comes in day one. I'm not going to necessarily say he's a starter day one, but I think he comes in day one and has a role, whether he's rotating in or whatever the role is going to be. But I think he plays as a true freshman. I think he's that good. I watched his film. And anytime C-Ray is high on you like that and giving you those flowers early on and you still haven't even stepped on campus yet, he got to be the real deal.
No doubt. And July 17th is the day we find out. We're getting really, really close. If Oregon seals it, we kind of know, like, oh, Lord, this is a package that is very hard to deny. If Oregon's getting all of these blue chips, we know the plight, if you will. So, I mean, I'm going to be paying close attention to it. We'll be updating it, reacting to it the minute that we get it. Let's switch into the SEC Media Day preview. The first thing that I'm expecting, that most are expecting, if you will, would be the Kirby Smart addressing, the little issues that they've been having at Georgia. And they're not little issues, honestly. It's turning into kind of a pattern. You've seen, I think it was 19 of these traffic violations over the span of 2-3 years. So it's kind of getting repetitive, and I really don't know how you stop it. I don't know how you handle it. Georgia's a great program. Kirby Smart's the best coach that you got in college football. I'm sure he'll have a plan. I don't know if you kick him off the team. I don't know what you do in this situation. It's going to be a little bit tough, so I'm sure you're going to get some enlightenment on that. Coach Steve Sarkisian will obviously be joined by Venables and Elko, getting their welcome to the SEC moment. I'm sure that'll be an interesting clip. And last but not least, we're going to have interviews from all the coaches, all the players on Monday. And I feel like it'll be it'll be a pretty good glimpse into the college football season. Yeah, the SEC Media Days, sometimes they give you the vanilla answers, but when you've had as much change as you've had and you've got the expansion of the college football playoff, you have the SEC expanding, you have a lot of things moving. I feel like, there's a lot to talk about, and we're going to be able to peel back some layers. But, G, what are you looking for most in SEC Media Days?
Man, I just kind of just like to hear the players talk. The coaches kind of pretty much say the same old things and very, very repetitive and politically correct. So I don't really get too up for the SEC Media Days. I really like watching the players and seeing how they articulate themselves and seeing how they answer questions and, hearing their goals for the upcoming season and things that they're looking forward to, for the upcoming season, man. So that's really what I look forward to. I don't really too much look at the coaches too much unless after the fact, I think a couple times Kirby Smart said some controversial stuff, and I might have went back and looked at the snippet, but I don't really too much care about what the coaches have to say because it's pretty much the same routine, same repetitive answers they give you year in and year out.
Oh, yeah. I'm really interested to see how Kirby's going to handle this one. We got Blanche in the chat dropping a pretty funny quote from Steve Spurrier saying how, he said he could always count on about 2 or 3 Georgia players to be suspended in key moments and key players. And I mean, it's been an unfortunate trend recently. They've been holding it up well. They've been working through it. They've won a few national championships, so it's kind of hard to say it hasn't been working for them. But it doesn't really read like the perfect situation. You really wouldn't have saw this at Alabama, and that's not saying nothing about Kirby's coaching style or anything. It's no drag on him. It's hard to control that many kids. It's kids. They just ran into money. They just got fast cars. They're hype. I get it. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's the reality of the situation. I think Coach Kirby's really good. I don't know what you do in this situation. You might have to kick somebody off the team. But if they're key players, it's like, what do? You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, but you're really in a predicament, to say the least. You're in a pickle, Coach.
Yep. I'm just kind of confused, especially with in a Kirby Smart ran program. He runs a tight ship. I'm kind of shocked that this is a continuous thing down there in Athens. I don't know if it's big, especially they just had a situation when there was a year ago, 2 years ago, where the staffer and one of the players died.
2 years ago, yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you would think that this would be something that's not happening. And I would really like to know what's being said and be a fly on the wall in these meetings when they're having these talks with these players about driving and being safe and things of that nature. I would really like to know what's being said because obviously it's not registering. Obviously it's not making a difference into their decision making. And even when you think about somebody like Rashid Rice, who was a second-round pick for the Kansas City Chiefs and a starter, he's in a world of trouble for something similar, right?
Henry Ruggs.
Think about somebody like think about somebody like Dante Stallworth who killed somebody, right? It's so many different scenarios that has happened in sports with, people racing and driving super fast. Like, I just don't understand why this is still happening in that Georgia program, especially somebody like Kirby Smart who runs a tight ship. I'm confused about that, and it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, you really wouldn't expect it from a program that's been a perennial powerhouse, like the bluest of blue bloods, if you had to say. I feel like it's definitely a shocker, and I'm interested to see what you do in the situation because it's looking like push is coming to shove here. Real quick, before we switch into our final segment of the show, I want to tell y'all, but I gotta go. I gotta get y'all the information. Happy Dad's now available in Louisiana just in time for the summer. It's high as hell. It's 90 degrees by 5 o'clock in the morning, it feels like. But if you get you a Happy Dad, the best tasting hard seltzer and tea, low in sugar, gluten-free, no artificial flavors, you can get it at Walmart, you can get it at Rouse's, you can get it at Albertsons, only if you're 21 plus, though. We don't want no youngins running around drinking the Happy Dad. But shout out to the boys for joining the team once again. Stock up. Walmart, Rouse's, Albertsons. Appreciate you guys. Let's move in to the Team USA segment. We got Team USA basketball back. LeBron James rallied the troops. USA trying to go get gold. They're favored minus 500, which is awesome. It's insane. It's a little bit of value, but it's also like, oh my God, they're that clear cut to win gold. Pretty interesting. You got some good squads around. It's not like the NBA or the Olympic basketball is what it once was when the Dream Team was around, yada, yada, yada. The international game has really picked up. I mean, let's look at the top stars. You've got Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo. You can name a bunch more as well. Those are arguably your top 3 players right now in the league, all international. So the Olympics have kind of changed in a sense where I don't think it's a guaranteed W for Team USA, but I would obviously lean in their favor. They've got an insane team. Kevin Durant's out right now. He has a little bit of a calf soreness injury, but it's early on. They're saving him. They're getting easy money sniper back out there. I want to make a quick note about Kevin Durant. I love these moments where he's standing next to other players and he's constantly saying he's 6'9" and that they're lying about their height. It's so funny because, I mean, look, Kevin Durant's got to be 6'11". He's got to be almost 7 foot. He's standing next to Anthony Davis. He's standing next to Joel Embiid, and they're all the same height. Honestly, he looks taller than AD. And AD's listed at what, 6'10"? This dude, Kevin Durant, is a shooting guard in a center's body. And I really think, if you had to pick a scorer that's been underrated in recent memory, it's him. Like, yeah, you give your credits to the LeBron Jameses, Luka Doncic's getting his credit. Of course, Stephen Curry deserves his credit and whatnot. But I got to shout out Kevin Durant because if you want to ask when was the birth of a stretch player or a player that can play multiple positions, or really, if you want to use 2K verbiage, a demigod, it was Kevin Durant. I mean, when he came in, lanky as hell, hard to guard, too long, going to shoot over your head. Doesn't matter who you are. He's taller, not necessarily bigger, but faster. And I think, he definitely deserves his credit. That's probably one of my favorite players to watch play. And lastly, team director of USA Basketball, Grant Hill, kind of gave some clarity on the Kawhi Leonard situation, why he left Team USA. It was a little bit murky at first. No one really knew why, but just kind of judging by the statement that he released, it seems like they were worried about Kawhi Leonard's injury status and just they didn't want to push him too hard. He had missed the last 3 games in the postseason for the Clippers, and he walked in with I think they said a right leg compression sleeve, kind of wasn't able to get back to the place that they thought he would get to. And, to put it sweet, Grant Hill said that it was in both parties' best interest that Kawhi Leonard went back and, Derek White comes in to replace him. So I'm glad they cleared that one up. A lot of people were confused on why Kawhi departed. But, hey, Team USA basketball's back, baby. Gold medal on the way. How you feeling, G?
Yesterday, I mean, watching it, they didn't look the part to start the game. I think they started the game down
1-11,
13-2 or 12-2 or something like that.
It was garbage.
Yeah, they started off pretty slow. One thing is evident. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to give the superstars from the past their due diligence and let them be the starters like Steph Curry and LeBron and stuff like that. And everybody's making a big deal about it, like why Anthony Davis not starting, why Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum not starting. And this is my thing with that, right? It's clear that when Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, and Anthony Davis got in the game changed.
Oh yeah,
the energy was different. It just was a different feel on the court, and that's when they started getting their momentum and started making more plays when those 3 guys was inserted into the game. I don't care who starts the game. As long as Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, and Anthony Edwards is the ones that's on the floor toward the end of games, I don't give a damn how they go about this. Because all these minutes is around the same. Like, if you look at the minutes, all of them, the ones that matter, everybody played around 17 to 19 minutes. So, but I think it's clear that Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, and Anthony Davis need to be on the floor at the end of games if they want to win gold.
I agree. Didn't Anthony Edwards lead them in scoring yesterday? 28, something like that?
Yep. I think he only missed 1 shot. But, Canada ain't really have no size. So I thought that was a clear indication that he was going to have a really, really good game.
Hey, I do. I would have mentioned one of our fellow Houston Rockets, bro. They had Devin Booker do his post-game interview with the media in like kind of a hallway setting. and my guy Dylan walked clean in front of every camera as slow as possible, trying to interrupt the interview of his opponent. I thought that was hilarious. This dude is an uber villain, and he had his run in the Team Canada Basketball League last year. He dropped, what, 40 points? And when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, send him to Houston. Let's go. I hope he can revitalize that. I hope we can see some more moments where I can just get super hype. I feel like that type of personality, though, even if you're not given 20 points per game, I can appreciate it. He's bringing that oomph in a team that does need a little bit of oomph.
You talking about Devin Booker, right?
I'm talking about Dylan Brooks. I was just saying Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Dylan Brooks. I'm sorry. Yeah, Dylan Brooks. I mean, you know, it's just like Draymond Green, man. They got to overcompensate for not being one of the more talented players on the floor. So playing hard and having a little antics and things of that nature, they have to do those type of things and say certain things in the media to keep their self relevant. You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect to Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks. I think they're good players in their own right, right? But that's just some things that Dylan Brooks has been doing since he entered the league with the Grizzlies, and it has kept him relevant.
Yep.
The average person wouldn't know who Dylan Brooks was if he didn't do some of the things he's been doing in the past. Like getting in LeBron's face and cursing him out and calling him a bitch and saying some of the things in post game that he's been saying over the last couple of years. And so, this is a way to keep him relevant in the league. And he's a good 3-and-D guy, and I think he's gonna do good for the Olympics. But he's finding a way to keep himself relevant over and over.
Yeah, and look, I don't knock the hustle. He's got to keep that brand alive. I definitely hope he can, pick up some steam. I wouldn't mind seeing a 40 bomb in a game in the NBA, but it's probably going to be impossible.
Right.
Moving into our last segment, we talked top 5 NFL quarterbacks last time we were on the show. This show, we're going to talk about top 5 NFL wide receivers. This one, honestly, a little harder than the quarterbacks. I feel like the quarterbacks, your top 3 is just simple. I mean, your top 2 is locked, Pat and Lamar. Everyone knows that. Wide receivers, you could really plug and play a lot of guys. I got my 5. It took me a little bit to make it. I got a little bit of a reasoning why I got them ranked where I got them ranked. Starting off at number 5, we got our guy right here, Devontae Adams. Sure, he had QB issues, I know, but last year was rough. I know they have to start a rookie there. They don't know who they're playing. Someone's getting hurt. This, that, the third. But let's dial it back to his first year in Las Vegas. Number 1 in touchdowns. Number 3 in yards. If you ask me, get him a quarterback, he might be the number 1 wide receiver. You saw what he did with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he might be getting up there in age, you might think. Guess what? He's only 31. It's the same age as Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans. He's got some juice left. He's got some gas left in the tank. I think if you put him, I don't want to say the Jets because it'd break my heart to see Aaron and him get a ring and it not be in the green and yellow. But if you put him there, he's back. If you ask me, I don't even think he really went anywhere. Number 4, Jamar Chase. Chemistry with Joe Burrow, unmatched. You can't find me a quarterback wide receiver duo that's on the same page like you can with these guys. Not to mention Jamar Chase, 3 years in the league, 3 1,000-yard seasons. Crossing 1,000 yards every single year, that's almost unfathomable. I mean, I know we're taking it for granted just because we've seen what he's capable of doing, and Jamar's going to pop off every single game, but that's really incredible if you ask me. He's constantly, hitting that mark, constantly showing everybody, hey, I could do it. Number 3, this is where it gets tough, but I'm going to throw CeeDee Lamb in there. I love CeeDee Lamb because, hey, I did win a fantasy Super Bowl with him, so it's kind of hard not to love him. But last year, number 2 in yards, number 3 in touchdowns, number 1 in catches, and he's only 25 years old. He's the second youngest wide receiver I have on this list. Who's the youngest? Jamar Chase by 1 year. But CeeDee Lamb's got damn near 10 years left in the tank if he plays his cards right, and really, by this point, I feel like he could be number one when it's all said and done a few years down the road. Plus, I don't want to give no Cowboys hate. I know I'm a Packers fan. I know you're probably going to think I'm biased. The dude's playing on the Cowboys with Dak Prescott. Not the sharpest quarterback in the league. Not a horrible quarterback, but not the best. If you put him as well as Devontae Adams in a different situation, these guys have a brand new career. And it's not like their careers are going bad, but it's just like, man, what would be possible if you've got someone like Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers tossing you the pigskin comparatively to who you got in Las Vegas or who you got in Dallas. Second, Tyreek Hill. Simply blink and you'll miss him. I mean, you don't need any other explanation for why Tyreek Hill is where he is on this list. Last year led the NFL in yards, led the NFL in touchdowns, and he was second in catches. I would just think Tyreek Hill's the guy. A lot of people wondered, is he going to be able to do it when he leaves Kansas City? Yep, he did. Did he win a Super Bowl? No. Bet you it hurts. He could have a few more rings, but he still is doing his thing. He still is, performing at that level. And a lot of people thought Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's scheme got him to that point. I think he has put that noise to bed. Number one, it's coming. I might as well start busting the gritty out right here. Justin Jefferson. And this is why I'm going to say this. And I know a lot of people are wondering, why not, Jamar? I think Justin's number one simply because last season, in only 10 games played, listen to me closely, 10 games played, keep in mind Kirk Cousins was hurt, he blew his Achilles, he had more yards in the regular season in those 10 games than Travis Kelce, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Scary Terry, who all played 15 or more games. That blew my mind. If you would have asked me, Travis Kelce is one of the best receiving guys in the league. I know he's a tight end, but when you need a catch, especially in prime time, we're talking about the moments being the biggest, lights being the brightest, the Chiefs are always in it. And Travis Kelce's always open. He could be double teamed. He could be triple teamed. He could be damn near 11 teamed. I think Travis Kelce is going to come down with that ball more often than not. And the fact that Justin Jefferson, in like 6 less games, goes out and gets more yards than him, it really stood out on how impactful and how explosive Jettas really is. So that's my list. Number 5, Devontae Adams. Number 4, Jamar Chase. Number 3, CeeDee Lamb. Number 2, Tyreek Hill. Number 1, Jay Jettas, your highest paid wide receiver for a reason. G, let me hear your list.
Good list, man. Good list, man. I think we got some differences, but hey, that's what makes sports so beautiful, man.
Exactly.
It's so opinionated, man. I'm going to start off at number 5, man. I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs gets himself back to elite status this year. I think going to the Texans is going to do wonders for his career going forward, man, especially with, how C.J. Stroud looked at as a rookie quarterback last year. I mean, I think he's only going to take another step this year and put himself in a position to where he's looked at. Because, if you remember, I had him as my top 5 quarterback going into this year.
Yep. So
I got to be consistent with one of his biggest weapons, if not his biggest weapon. And then when you got somebody like Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz and Joe Mixon and some other weapons that C.J. Stroud gets to play with, can you imagine Stephon Diggs being matched up one-on-one with no bracket coverage? I mean, bro, this dude he's going to put up some numbers this year. So I got him at number 5, bro. I just think he gets back to that elite status, for some of the people that think that he's not elite as he was a couple years ago. Number 4, I got Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, what he's doing in the NFL and what he's consistently been doing since he arrived in Kansas City. And then a lot of people thought he wasn't going to be able to do it when he didn't have Pat Mahomes as his quarterback, still showing that he is one of the best in the league. I think he has a really, really good year again. Probably going to be top 5 in yards, probably top 5 in yak. What else can you say about Tyreek Hill? I mean, he's just that elite, bro. Probably one of, if not the best, under 6-foot receiver that I've seen since I've been watching football. Number 3, I got A.J. Brown. And I know that might surprise some people, but you go look at A.J. Brown production last year with the Eagles. I want to say he was top 5 in yards and top 5 in touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong with that. But A.J. Brown continues to show that he's an elite receiver in this league. 6'2", 6'3", looks like a man-child out there. You can't leave him one-on-one. Then he got somebody opposite him in Devontae Smith and Goddard at tight end that opens up him to be one-on-one and get them favorable matchups. And Jalen, I know him and Jalen Hurts had they ups and downs last year with, on the sideline and things like that. But I think they figured things out this offseason, and I think you see A.J. Brown continue to put himself as one of the elite receivers in the league and probably be top 5 in yards once again this year. Number 2, I got Justin Jefferson, right? And look, some people might say he's number 1. Look, that's arguable. I will never sit here and argue with anybody that says Justin Jefferson is number 1. But if I had to pick my top 5, I'm going to put him number 2. Or I could say maybe he's 1B. But, it doesn't take a rocket scientist and an expert to state that this kid has no flaws in his game. His raw running, his competitive nature, the way he's able to make people miss in space. Justin Jefferson does it all. And he comes from the LSU brand. He's a boot boy. He's just built a little different. And so I got him in number 2. I'm kind of concerned about the quarterback situation in Minnesota, and and seeing if he can still put those numbers up, not having Kirk Cousins anymore. But I think he still figures a way to be, in that 1,200, 1,300 yard receiving range and still be able to keep himself as an elite receiver in the league. My number one, you can say is 1A and keep Justin Jefferson 1B. But my 1 is Jamar Chase. I just think Jamar Chase, what he does on the football field is some things you just can't coach, right?
Yep.
The speed, the strength, how much power he plays with, and the way he creates separation, the way he high points it, his competitive nature. Then he has Joe Burrow, another LSU alum, throwing him the football, and I think Joe Burrow is going to be healthy this year. That puts him at number 1 to me because his quarterback situation is better than Justin Jefferson's situation. So I just think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is going to have a magical year. I think they put themselves in a situation to where they get back to the playoffs, and you see Jamar Chase lead the NFL in receiving yards and touchdowns, and he's going to be an NFL MVP candidate, right? And I'm not saying he's going to win the MVP, but I think he's a candidate to win the MVP. I think he's about to have that kind of year, and it's only a matter of time till it comes across the screen on my Bleacher Report that he's the highest paid receiver passing Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, it's coming. That's a ticking time bomb because they can't let him go. But, hey, I did notice some with your list. Hey, I hope DeCorian Moore does hear this list because you're number 1 and number 2. Couple of boot boys, couple of Bayou guys.
Man, yeah. I'm just saying, man, they about to be paid number 1, number 2 in the league.
And that
what we talking about?
Them checks a lot heavier than an NIL check. Believe me.
Come on, man.
You making 30 M's a year, doing what you love. That's a blessing. And then
no doubt.
I think if we're doing top 5 NFL wide receivers next year or the year after, you might have Malik and Brian in there as well. You might have damn near every LSU wide receiver covering this entire board. Realistic.
And the type of offense that Brian Thomas is in with Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson calling the plays, he's definitely in a great situation to have a great rookie season and going forward after that, man. I just think he's in a really, really good situation down there in Jacksonville.
He really is. I mean, that's a blessing. And there was a lot of rumors on where he would go. I mean, at first it was even the Saints. And as much as you'd love to be able to see Brian Thomas in the Dome, yeah, this is a way better off situation. Yeah, they might be in a tough conference, but NFL's tough. It don't matter. It's like you got to be able to play competition across the board. I would rather play the tough competition and have iron sharpen iron than play the soft competition and get punched in the mouth whenever you enter the playoffs. So I think, going next to Trevor Lawrence. Also, he's next to, is it Zay Jones? Who's the other wide receiver? Yeah, he's got some dogs over there that he can.
I think Gabe Davis is the other receiver.
Okay. I mean, hey.
And then they got Evan Ingram at tight end.
They got some hands. Hands in that room. We got a couple of questions in the chat. We got Brandon asking, which LSU conference game are you looking forward to the most? Mine, Ole Miss. It's going to be the 100th year dedication of Tiger Stadium. They're going to have a little ceremony. That'll be cool. Plus, you're opening up SEC play at home. Then finally, You got to get that revenge from last year. That was a loss you really shouldn't
Yep.
have had. Plus,
Yep.
they got all this buzz, all this rat poison going on in the offseason. Number one transfer portal class. This, that, the third. Look, they could be good. They could be great. I think that LSU could, if they win that game, there's a huge, huge chance they're 6-0. They have a very good start to the schedule prior to this game. You know, you got the USC, the Nichols. You've got a couple of, I'm not going to say gimme games, because you do have a South Carolina road game. You do have a couple of moments where you might get tested. You could get tested in week 1 in Las Vegas. But we talked about our predictions about a week or two ago, and I thought it would be a 5-0 start. Winning an Ole Miss game puts you at 6-0, makes you probably top 5 in the country, and has everyone in the SEC terrified.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I think that is probably the number one game that Ole Miss is really the only team on LSU's schedule that I think that from when you look on paper, there's evenly matched on both sides of the ball. So I think that Ole Miss game is going to be really, really critical, especially if they can come out on top and win that game, because I do think they're going to start off 5-0 going into that game. I really do think that.
Yep.
So yeah, that Ole Miss game, that's a good one.
I'm excited. I think this season, look, we got a lot of hype that we're putting out there, but I really do believe it. I think this could be the year. You can talk as much as you want about Brian Kelly's year 3 success and the trends, and then you can also talk as much as you want about the defense potentially repairing. But I mean, dude, we're about 2 weeks away from fall camp starting. Go and watch the practices. Go and see the progress. It's here. College football season's here. College football 25 is releasing next week. I mean, what more can you ask for as a college football fan?
I can't wait.
We're gonna have to get on the sticks, G. We're gonna have to get on the sticks. I'm gonna drop a little bit of news on the channel. I probably talked about it a little bit before, but I'm gonna make a Verdin Verdict gaming channel. All those Madden interviews we're doing, I'm dumping it on that. I'm streaming the game on that. I'm gonna be pack hunting college football 25, Road to Glory in it up. I'm playing that game every day.
You might not want to stream when you play me, man. I'm pretty good. I'm just
Hey,
saying, man.
I seen you tearing up Kyron Lacey.
I got a reputation, man. Going back to my college days, man. I'm pretty good in Madden, and I used to be really good in that college football back in the day.
Hey, I can't shy away. I just said I want to play tough competition. Hey, we got to do the iron sharpening iron. If I get my butt kicked a little bit, hopefully I get the rub, and then I'm able to start kicking somebody else's butt.
Have your scheme ready, man. You gotta have a scheme in place.
What team you picking? Are you gonna pick LSU? I'm gonna have to pick somebody
Michigan,
else.
Man, come on, man. Stop playing, man. Michigan.
Oh my God.
Michigan,
Okay, yeah, it's set. Y'all, LSU versus Michigan coming really, really soon.
Man, come on, man. Don't play. I gotta stick. Look. I always root for the home team. Always have. But I've been a Michigan fan since I've been 8 years old, man.
I respect it. Got to defend that national championship. Got to defend it.
Yeah, man, you only good as your last national championship, man. I mean, sorry, Tiger fans. I mean, look. Hopefully, LSU, this could be LSU's year to get them a national championship since when it was 2019.
Yep. Get number 5. Well, G, I appreciate you hopping on today. Been a good stream. We're gonna figure out what we're gonna do next week, because we will be traveling. We will be in Dallas for SEC Media Days. We doing our Monday, Wednesday, Friday streams every week, of course. We normally did them at 11 a.m. This time, we're going to probably have to wait towards the evening, maybe a 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock stream. But we're definitely going to get some content up for you. We're going to have interviews all week long. Not to mention, I've been waiting for the end of the video to drop this one. We got a exclusive interview tomorrow. We're going to have an LSU baseball player. I'm not going to say who. I know it was planned for today. Guess what? We had to make some things shake, but we're going to be introducing to the LSU fans, to the LSU mob, if you will, a brand new transfer on that Jay Johnson team. Jay's been hitting the portal hard, and I think, we got some pieces, if you ask me. We're, like I said, introduce you to one of them tomorrow, one of your biggest, I'll give you a hint, one of your biggest defensive additions. There you go. I might have gave it away, but stay tuned for that. We're going to have that one up tomorrow afternoon. G, anything you want to say before we head out of here?
Nah, man, just looking forward to football season rolling around, bro. Around this time of the year, we get a little stagnant, a little bored, and trying to find things to watch on TV. That's why I'm glad I was able to watch USA play yesterday. But man, I just can't wait till football season roll around, man. I'm looking forward to that matchup in Las Vegas with LSU and USC, and seeing how this season gonna turn out.
It's gonna be exciting. Hey, can't wait. We're like 50 days away. A big
Yep,
50. Big
yep.
50. Oh, speaking of
Big
Big
50.
50, shout out Emory Jones. We went to the Emory Jones camp yesterday. Got a bunch of content on our Instagram at Verdin Verdict. That was a really cool camp. I'd argue that's the best camp I've ever been to. It was raining, but everyone still had a good time. That's how you know it was successful. I mean, hey, rain or shine, Big 50 is going to put it on for the community.
Shout out Emory Jones, man. Good dude.
Shout out. Yeah, he's going to be probably a top 10 draft pick, man. We're gonna be losing a couple of pieces, but I think this NFL draft coming up, ooh, might get 4 of them in the first round. Definitely got 3, but you might get 4. If they do,
Right.
I'm gonna be hype. But that's been our stream. Thank you everybody who's been watching. Hit a thumbs up before you leave. I'm gonna have a couple of things up my sleeve here going up through the next week. But once again, G, thank you for hopping on. Y'all have a good one.
Appreciate it.